Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just completed a service on this General Electric RC changer. They have RC numbers, I think RC for record changer. And this has just been finished. It's going to go into here. Really nice little consolette that I put together. So what I thought I would do was given instruction on how to operate it. Now the reason I'm going to do this is, and probably for some more changes in the near future, is very often after selling one of these, and especially with the younger generation that really doesn't know too much about turntables, record changers, especially automatic ones, there was a lot of questions, and it's quite normal user error, no fault of anybody's. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give a little demonstration on how you should use this changer. Now, before we get into the basic operation of this changer, I want to point out a few idiosyncrasies of the GE style of changer. First of all, it's not automatic sensing like a lot of other changers are, where it automatically senses the size of the record, drops it accordingly, and then the tone arm will go and land in the right spot. So as you can see here, we have 12, 10, and 7. 12 is for LPs, 10 is normally for 78s, but I think you can get some 10-inch singles, modern singles, I think, from back in the 70s. And then 7, of course, is your 45. We'll talk about the 45 in a moment, but also what I want to point out here is a lot of the times, especially with a different design of the tracking weight, this one is a screw version. You basically screw this backwards and forwards to move the weight up and down, and that'll set the tracking weight for the needle cartridge, needle in the cartridge, so it's the right weight to land on the record, and also to make sure that it will get to the end of the record and trip the mechanism for it to auto change. This one, like I said, is a screw version. You screw it in and that will make it heavier. This way will make it lighter. There is another version which just manually slides. You can see some lines right here. And what can happen is, especially when a new user gets a turntable like this just gets knocked. Either too light or too heavy, it gets knocked around because it's a sliding mechanism, and especially if it's too light that way, the needle and the cartridge will skip on the record, and then everybody thinks that there's a fault. Also, this screw here adjusts the height of how high the tone arm rises, and it has to come up a certain height so that it clears and can land on the record, but not too high, because another record is going to be underneath it and you don't want to hit it. I'll show you that shortly. Also, this screw here sets where the tone arm lands on the record. I'll show you in a moment when we actually load a record up, but if it goes in too far, it'll start the music too early, and not far enough on the outside, it could literally miss the record. So by screwing this in this way, we'll move the tone arm and the needle landing point further into the record, and screwing it out will do the opposite. We'll move the needle and tone arm further away from the record. Now we're all ready to go. What we'll do first is we'll lift up the record rest arm over like this. We'll load one record for now so you can see the tone arm in action. Place the record and then move the record rest arm over gently, and don't let it fall down hard so it supports the record. Then over here you're going to see reject and on. So reject is another word for automatic. So to make this thing automatically play, we'll have this lever over here, this dial button, and we'll just bring it over briefly. Give it a click, tone arm rises, record drops, and there it drops. So I've loaded 2 records here so that we can see the height difference, so that it's not too high to hit the next record that is about to be dropped, but high enough so that if you imagine 4 records stacked here, that it doesn't move over and hit them as it plays. I believe you can stack 4 or 5, probably only 4 on this GE. So here we go. That's a good height there. And it drops perfectly in the guide track. Now it drops in the guide track, so you have a little intro so it doesn't automatically hear music. So, you know, you actually hear the intro of the track. Now, normally what you would do is this would fall over all the way to the end of the record, and then it will drop the next record. But we're going to cheat, and by doing that, even if you are fed up with a song, click it over, it'll drop that record and play the next one and land perfectly. Now, as I said, once it gets to the end of the record, and I'll cheat it over here, it'll come over, be in the end track there, and turn off. Okay, 45s. So, GE supply this 45 adapter. It's a bit stranger than most, as it flips the record a little bit forward. Now, your console may or may not come with that 45 adapter, but they are sourceable. So we're going to lift up the record rest arm. We will put the 45 adapter on there. I have some records here with the holes punched out, ready to go. And now you have to, because if you don't support it, as you can see, everything wants to slide forward, rest arm. Then you'll come over to, so make sure that you are set. Your size selector is on 7, which I showed you previously. You're also going to move your speed selector to 45, so it's at the right speed. And then we'll give it a click over. Drops a record, and we're off to the races. Now, obviously at the end of the record, I'll cheat it. It'll come up, and see that height is crucial, that tone arm height, and play the next record. And as you've seen before on the LPs, when it gets to the last one, it'll come over and shut off. Now, that's basically the automatic function covered, but you can use this in manual mode, and that's where if you want to place a record on a specific track, you can just turn it on and do that. Now, with the GE changer, as you can see here, right here, we have an on and reject, which is also for automatic work. You need to very, very gently just click this over to on, like that, and you have it engaged anything but turn the power on to the motor, which will turn the platter. Now you can place any record, any track of the record manually. Now what will happen though at the end, because the rest arm is right over here, it will go to the end, move over, and turn off. But if you wanted to play a record over and over again, move this arm over, once again, just a gentle click, place the tone arm on any track you wish, or at the beginning, and then at the end of the record, it will repeat, and it will play that record over and over again. There you go. I hope that helps, especially with new customers. Obviously, all those things that have been set, I talked about, will be done by me, especially with a reconditioned unit. Tracking weight, height, you name it, distance. But for the novice or for the new person who's just getting into vinyl, I hope that explains the operational misgivings and the workings of the GE changer. I will do more as I get to them, especially the Claro, the Voice of Music, Zenith Pro, what have you. Like I said, a lot of you guys know exactly what they're doing, but for the neophyte, I hope that helps.